Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at example 2 from section 7.4 using the substitution strategy to solve a system of linear equations. So in this question we got to go back to some of the early sections of chapter 7 and come up with a linear system. Okay? So it says create a linear system to model the situation. Nuri invested $2,000, part of an annual interest rate of 8% and the rest at an annual interest rate of 10%. After 1 year, the total interest was $190. So I'm going to make a little table here to help us create the system of equations that we have. So here is a little table, organize your work. You don't have to do this every time, just to help organize work. So what do we know? What are we given? There are two investments, one at 8%, one at 10%. So we'll let X be the amount invested at, the amount of money invested at 8%, and Y the amount at 10%. And the total investment was $2,000. So if the total investment is $2,000, that'll give us the equation X plus Y is equal to $2,000 because it's an amount, right? It has nothing to do with the interest. The interest is the 190. So that would be equation number 1. Equation number 2 will have the interest involved. So we know that 8% as a decimal is 0.08. Oh, sorry, 0.08. And then we multiply that by X, right? 0.08. And then we know the Y was 10%, so 0.1 or 1.10 just to show. And that amount will be 190 of interest. And that's equation number 2. So there are your two equations. All right? So this equation is your money equation that you invested, and this is the interest earned equation. So there's two equations, obviously. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to use substitution to solve for this. So with this one here, I'm going to put it into y equals form. So I'm going to rearrange equation 1 so it will be equal to y. Obviously you're not going to do it with the second equation. It's more difficult because there's coefficients in front of the x and y. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I'm going to get 2,000 minus x to subtract there. And then I'm going to substitute this into equation 2. Everywhere I see y, I'm going to substitute in 2,000 minus x. And that will give me my equation in terms of one variable. Right? That's the whole idea of why we use a system. It works very well. So everywhere I see y, I put in 2,000 minus x, because we know that y is equal to 2,000 minus x. So we can substitute that in. This now allows us to only have one variable opposed to two. That's the whole idea of a system of equations. So now we're going to solve for x here. So the decimal 1 times 2,000 would give us 200, and the decimal 1 times x would give us minus 0.10x. Okay? Combine like terms, so we're going to add these two together, taking the 200 to the other side. So taking the 200 to the other side will give me 190 minus 200, so that's gone. Combine these like terms, 0.08 minus 0.10 would give us negative 0.2x. And then the 900, oh, sorry, I'll leave it like that for the next line. And then we'll combine like terms in the next line. Again, you can do more steps at once if you want here. Subtract these two. When we subtract that, we get negative 0.2x. And then we subtract these, we get minus 10. And then the next step is to divide both sides by negative 0.02. So we divide this by negative 0.02. Oh, got my decimals. There's a 0.2. Right? So it's a negative divided by negative, right? So that's going to end up, we're going to end up with a positive value. Obviously, because it's an amount of money. If not, we'd be in the negative here. And negative 10 divided by negative 0.01 is equal to 500. Okay? So that means that the amount of money invested at 8% is $500. Okay? That's what that means. All right? Now to get the x value, sorry, to get the y value, obviously you just use the other formula. A lot of you can just see that it's going to be 1,500, right? And you'd be correct. So we take our equation. And again, you can substitute it in either equation and it'll work. It'll be no problem. So we substitute this 500 in. Okay? So we got here, we substitute 500 in for x, Usually I always substitute back into the original. Again, you could have used the one that already says y equals. Subtract 500 from both sides, right? And then we get y equals 1500, obviously, right? Because both matter up to 2000. So I think we could have figured that out without even doing that, right? So this means, you want to write a sentence there, this means that Nuri invested $500 at 8% and $1,500 at 10%. That's what that means. Okay? And we use the substitution to find that. Again, you can use Desmos to double check. I recommend it. Go to your Desmos program. You can put the original equations in. X plus y equals 2000. You obviously won't see that because it's the x, y intercept is 2000, so that's why you have to scan out here, right? Like zoom out, zoom out, and 0.08x plus 0.10 y, and that's equal to 190, and then you can see the intersection points at 500 and 1500. Just a quick way to double check. This is verification that you're right. When you're working at home, I recommend it. Again, if you wanted to do this on your graphic calculator, you would have to change the equations, rearrange them. So there again, I rearranged the first one, still the same value. Next one I rearrange, I take the negative 0.08x over this side, right? Oh, forgot my decimal. Okay. Again, still the same intersection points. Divide them both by decimal 1, right? So dividing that by decimal 1 to make that 1900. And then divide this by decimal 1. Multiplying this by decimal 1 would give me decimal 8. Okay? And again, the same value, right? So I just rearrange these for x. That's if you're using the graphing calculator that I have, that you have on your Chromebook. Okay? You always have to put them in y equals form there. But again, same solutions. It's just nice to see that again. All right? So there is your word problem done using substitution. There's one that you guys can work on there. Check your understanding, and it's the same idea. So you can just try that on your own there. Okay. Instead of rushing through this and making sure I get it in the video, in the next video, what we'll do is we'll do example 3, solving a linear system with fractional coefficients. There's a strategy that we use there to eliminate that. Okay. And that's what we'll do in the next example. All right? So we'll talk again soon in the next video. Thank you.